now it's streaming. I just gotta get everybody else on.
Where are they?
I don't know, and now
I'm on the wrong camera, aren't I? Here we go. Oh, no, I'm on the right camera. I'm just looking at the wrong screen. There we go.
is everyone on yet? Okay. Let's see. Okay, let me see if I can. Do you have the Rabbi? Do you have the ability to call any of those people? Because
We just gave them that link. I mean, I
Yeah.
used that link to come over. I can try to pop back over to that room. You know what? I can do
Okay.
that on my phone.
I'm seeing like there's Ray Coletti here now.
Okay, let's see. You know what? I'm going to pop over to the other one on my phone.
Okay.
Hi.
And take people over. Hi there.
Of course. You too.
Oh, good. Okay.
Hey, Marty. Hi, Marty. It's Solomon here. Hi. Marty, did you get the new link? Oh, hold on a second. I can't hear you. Marty? We're supposed to go to a different link. It was put in the chat a moment ago. Do you see it in the chat?
And Rabbi, the link for this is in the morning minion link that I just sent. The people will be able to get the Zoom. It's in there. It's quicker than sending over Zoom to people. Hi, Rabbi.
Hold on. Who's on this call?
Go to the morning minion page. So go to the home page of the website. The ID is 619-758-363.
Hi.
Alex, you look good. David.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, David. Hi, Alex.
Who else is on this call right now?
Here, let me.
Well, Marty, are you still there too?
There, it looks like everybody else is coming in. I'm surprised.
We had a technical issue.
That was in the
so
the meeting ID and the password was in the chat.
So we need to switch over to a different
I have the new
link.
password.
Let me see what I can do to help you.
All right.
I'm going to do that.
Got it. Yeah.
Is it backwards for them?
Okay. Okay, Jared. The problem with the chat is if anybody joins after you posted that, they won't see it.
They won't see the password. So we just emailed a bunch of people, and I am going to do it a different way.
Okay.
Good morning. Mitch just tried it and said it doesn't work.
Can you email include Marty on that email?
Yeah, Marty. It's Marty. I'm going to email you the new password, okay?
Oh, you're still on the other one too.
I'm looking on two computers.
It's not the same meeting number.
I know. I'm looking at two computers. This is very Art Kleinstein. This is very Art Kleinstein. Here we go.
It is right what I wrote.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I can do this. Marty, I had in the chat of this. Oh, this is the original one.
Don't give out the Zoom, so my friend.
Can we just laugh at how art this is? If he was here, the video would look like this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set up my video like Art Kleinstein is in it. Hey, Stephen Tannenbaum, or sorry, Stephen Marty, I'm giving you a new link to go to the new thing and then a new password.
So I'm getting it up.
Yeah.
Mine in particular.
YouTube is working?
That's because I'm not near the microphone.
Oh my God. Hey, host Jacob, can you do me a favor? Can you make it so that Rabbi Dahlin is the main screen so that people on the YouTube aren't looking at like Brady Bunch style?
Sure. So on speaker view now.
Hold on, it hasn't switched yet.
All right, I've got it. I'm making noise now.
Yeah, we don't want to have everyone see everyone.
All right, and then James, you can also
Harvey, will you mute?
spotlight speakers. If you want, you can make me a co-host and I can help with that.
You are a co-host.
Okay, thanks.
You can do the same with me. I'll be on mute patrol.
I see Jessica.
Okay. And you are Melissa. Okay.
The other thing we can do is not show non-video participants, and then others can take their video off for a while. Let's see.
Yeah, the video is rotating right now with whomever is talking on
Everyone
I'm getting out for a
YouTube
minute.
live.
I need to get out.
Dahlia, you can pin Rabbi Dahlin.
Here I am.
I just spotlighted Rabbi Dahlin.
Great.
Are we on YouTube yet?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I can hear more people coming in, but Shane and Jared and Joanne, tell me when you think the time is right to begin. Do
Just
we
a couple
have
minutes.
do we have Marty Goldstein on yet?
On one question, can you see the original one? Can anybody else see the original, James? Because I need to be re-added as the host of that one in order to put my sign up.
I can't see the original one.
And we may just say,
I also logged off. I can get back on that one.
I don't think you have host privileges. You know what? We may have to say anybody who wants the original one can just really hope that they have the YouTube link and we should be fine. Just make sure that from now on, it's only on speaker view for everybody else. Jared, how was my funeral? Well, the first 3 minutes I played what I usually play the role with you.
everyone hears you on YouTube.
I know, it's beautiful. Everybody on YouTube hears me. Oh boy. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. This has been so embarrassing. I'm gonna go to the other room. I'm so sorry, everybody.
You're
I love
fine.
you.
James, have you checked into the participants on YouTube at this point? Are they all getting on?
Let me see.
Yes, Rabbi, they are.
Great.
Yes, there's 281 watching.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we're good, Rabbi.
Okay, shall we begin? Okay. Hi, everybody. I know this is very unusual circumstances for a funeral not being together. We're together online and we can see each other's faces. And more of that will come at the Shiva tomorrow afternoon. But for now, we're going to be face to face on our screens. And because of art, because of how special he was to all of us. We want to make sure that this funeral is dignified and respectful of a life very well lived. So we'll begin the funeral service proper, calling upon Cantor Goldstein. If he can hear me and is on the Zoom, if you could chant Mizmor David for us. Okay, I don't hear him. All right, we'll get back to Cantor Goldstein for El Malei Rachamim at the end of the service, and I will begin with Psalm 23. Mizmor David, Adonai ro'i lo echsar bin odesha yarbitzeni, almei menuchot yanahaleni, nafshi yeshovev yancheni v'maglei tzedek lama'an shemo. Gam ki elech begetz al-mavet lo ira ra ki ata imadi. Shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni. Tarok lefanai shulchan neged sorarai. Dishanta v'shemen roshi kosi revaya. Ach tov v'chesed yirtefuni kol yomei chayai. V'shavti b'veit Adonai le'orech yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I'd like to call upon Rabbi Grunwald to recite a psalm as well.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. I want to extend my condolences to the Kleinstein family on behalf of my wife, Melanie, and myself. I loved Art, and Art understood the value of memory and of the preciousness of a moment. That's why he savored life so much. And he never missed an opportunity to remember those he loved. He would come to morning minyan and to say Kaddish for one of his parents or for a close relative. And he would always bring a bottle of scotch. And it didn't matter that it was 9 o'clock in the morning. He would pour us all a little l'chaim and remember his loved ones and tell us a little bit about them. So in honor of Art, I've got some good scotch. Gonna have a tiny l'chaim for you, Art. L'chaim, and we look forward to hearing memories this like to
Okay. I think Rabbi,
is something wrong?
yeah, I'm not hearing you so well. But
Yeah, the connections are not great, unfortunately.
Oh. I'll take it back to you, Rabbi Dallin. Go ahead.
Let's continue on with Psalms of praise to bring comfort and faith in God, that now Art Kleinstein is with God and in God's kingdom. Kerachem av al banim richem Adonai al yire'av, ki hu yadai yitzreinu zachur ki afar anachnu, enosh kechatzir yamav ketzitza sadeh, Ken yatzitz ki ruach av rabo ve'enenu lo yakirenu od mekomo. V'chesed Adonai me'olam ve'ad olam al yire'av v'tzidkato livnei vanim. As a father has compassion for his children, the Lord has compassion for those who show reverence. God knows how we are fashioned. God remembers that we are but dust. The days of mortals are like grass. We flourish as the flowers of the field. A wind passes over them and they are no more, and no one can recognize where they grew. For the Lord's compassion is everlasting. God's kindness to children's children, to all the reverent ones, endures age after age, unchanging.
Maybe at this time I might sing a psalm for Art. One of the highlights of my career as a chazan, and this is no diss to Shane, but was Jared's bar mitzvah in Vail, at which Rabbi Dallin and I were at. And it was an incredible experience because we didn't really know the Kleinstein family that well yet. We would later get to know them much better. But it was really an incredible experience because of their kindness, because of Arthur's kindness and his complete desire for us to all feel joy. And what makes me so happy about this memorial service we're having right now is how many young people I see out there. There's more young people than old people like me. And that's a tribute to how much he loved life and being young, no matter what age you are. This is Psalm 23. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, binoteh sheyarbitzeni, al mei menuchot ינעלני, נפשי שובב, ינחני ומגלה צדק, אוי למען שמו, גם כי אלך בגצל מוות, לא אירא רע, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורר. תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב בחסד ירדפוני. כל ימי חיי ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. Rest in peace, Arthur.
The psalmist writes, O Lord, who shall dwell in your sanctuary? Who shall abide upon your holy mountain? He who lives with integrity, does what is right, and speaks the truth in his heart, who has no slander upon his tongue, who does no evil to his fellow man. Art Kleinstein now dwells with God, but we still can't imagine this world without him. There are few people I would describe as pillars of the community. And what I mean by pillar, that person the community depends on to hold them up. That person who serves a role model for others. That person who builds a family and offers them for service to others. It will be said about Art at this service this morning and at the Shiva services that Art was a force of nature because he lived large, but more importantly, because he loved large. Family or friends or new acquaintances, his energy, his positivity, his charisma put a smile on every face. He made you feel good, listened to, acknowledged. He made you be better than you would have been without knowing him. He lit up a room. You always knew when Art was there, and you were grateful for it. And you just knew there would be more fun to come. His family adored him. Joanne, his wife of 33 years, his 4 children, Lauren and Perry, Mitchell and Dahlia, Jared and Melissa and Shane. His adoptive daughters, Romy and Josh, Elise and David. His 5 grandchildren, Evan, Alexa, Emily, Leo, and Kai. And his beloved sister, Edie, a confidant, a business partner, and a friend. And then literally hundreds of people in this community that felt like they were just a part of his family. Art was an incredible person who will live in the minds of hearts of all that were fortunate enough to know him. Art was born in a DP camp in Austria to parents Luba and Joseph Kleinstein. The family were able to move to Canada, to a small town in Ontario. The family remembers visiting Beit Futsot in Tel Aviv that kept records of people living in diaspora communities. The family was astounded to see Luba Kleinstein's name as an important donor in Ontario, Canada. They were excited about it, and they went right home to tell Luba, who told them that she was the one who registered herself, that name at a former visit to the museum. The family moved to Oakville, a smaller community near Toronto. The Jewish community was small there as well, and Luba and Joseph were active in it. Art became quite observant, going to minyan, keeping kosher, from the time of his bar mitzvah till going off to college. He kept those skills sharp, going to shul to daven for yahrzeits. Jared and Shane would go with him. Jared said his father made Judaism cool. They'd have a shot of scotch after the minyan. Art always carried his Judaism with him. More to say about that in a minute. But I know many here remember davening with him on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. at the top of Chairlift 11 at Vail. It's 11 at 11. He'd blow a whistle to assemble the Jewish crowd. Art went to the University of Toronto intending, or his parents intending, to go into medicine. At the first sight of blood, Art changed his mind to another possible profession in the world, accounting. He got an accounting degree, became a CPA, and began his career in real estate with his sister and her late husband, Michael. They were in business together all of these years. Art and the family were very successful. Art had an unusual talent. He would take a situation and he can see in his mind the way the deal would work for all parties. He was creative, he was a negotiator, a deal maker, and the deals satisfied all parties. He simply made things work in business, but also in family and community and with his many friends. Art married Karen, and they had 2 kids, Lauren in 1972 and Mitch in 1974. Art and Karen divorced, but remained friends all of these years. And the children remained close to both of them. For Lauren, Art was the go-to person for most any question and problem she had in her life. She talked to him every day. If anything happened in her life, she wanted to tell her dad. She loved how her father related to her kids, asked the kids how they would like to spend winter break. It was with Art, of course. So up to Vail they would go. Skiing with Zadie was a special treat. Evan and Art talked sports in every conversation, not just how the team is doing, but how all the city teams are doing, all their trades, records, stats. Evan once said that his grandfather was his best friend. Art would tell Lauren's kids the same silly joke that would have Jared and Shane rolling their eyes. Evan and Alexa would laugh, and that was good enough for Art to keep it going. Mitch shared traits with Art, one of which was stubbornness. Mitch had a lot of time with his dad, and he wouldn't change out a bit of it. As adults, the two became very close. The last few weeks, when families were connecting more so than usual, Mitch and his family was able to FaceTime Art and Joanne. It was a precious time. Mitch shared everything with his father. Art gave sage advice and also knew when not to give advice. Mitch came to understand just how deeply his father loved him, appreciated him, and was proud of him. Joanne had met Art a few times, and each time she felt his energy and charisma fill up the room. Her friends told her that this is the person for you. And they married in 1987, 33 years ago. And then came Jared and Shane. For Joanne, he was her mentor, friend, confidant, and they had a lot of fun together. They were different people. Joanne more yoga and salmon, Art more meat and potatoes. But they complemented each other and made space for the other to pursue interests and passions and to bring home to share them. They would play golf together. Joanne would watch the games. They brought out the best in each other. They were a team, and the two of them shared precious time together, certainly in the last several weeks at home. When Jared and Shane came along, Art's work was flexible, and he was able to spend most of his time working from home. Jared told me that for the past 32 years of his life, he has wanted to be Art Kleinstein, professionally, personally, as a father, as a husband, and friend. They would do everything together. Jared's passions were his passions, and what Art loved, Jared was right there. Skiing, golf, any kind of sport. They shared it together. For Shane, she said that she was completely taken with her father. Loved his energy, his knowledge, his funniness, his joyousness, and everyday presence in her life. She mentioned that he would go to her sports games where she was on the bench, didn't play well, but he spoke to her afterwards and said she worked the hardest of any of the kids on the team and was smarter than them. And your team, Shane, really needed you. She saw him as a generous and loving and accepting and proud father. The kids will speak more about Art in a minute, and no one could possibly be more eloquent than them. He had golf buddies. In fact, it was arranged that the jet that came from Centennial Airport was also right there at Meridian Golf Course, which was his course. His friends were all in the parking lot having one of Art's favorite drinks, and the plane was to tip its wings to the guys. He had skiing buddies. He had a couple friends. He had the synagogue, and he had his many friends in the Jewish community and in the business community. Probably starting with Luba, Art was a giver. If you had anything, you had to give some of it to the community, not just money, but his volunteer time as well. And here is the edited list of all the organizations he supported, gave to, and worked for. Denver Jewish Day School, where Jared and Shane went, ADL, APAC, really anything that supported Israel. I had the pleasure of staffing a trip to Israel with Art and Joanne on it, and they were a blast. JNF, JCC. Art was put on the selection committee for the Denver Jewish Film Festival through the JCC. And as all the other members loved the nuanced and smart films, any movie that didn't put Art to sleep was good enough for him. They also knew that his favorite movie was Animal House, and he was still on that committee for a decade. They just loved having him there. He worked for Jewish Federation. Art was given my card, his rabbi, who he had to solicit. That couldn't have been easy for him. So he took me out to the Fresh Fish Company, and I said, I will give this to the Federation campaign. And he said, no, more. And of course, who says no to Art Kleinstein? I gave more. Israel Bonds, Ort, B'nai B'rith, UJA. For Art, it was all about what he could do for you, for his family, his friends, and his community. There is so much more to say. He lived 93 years in his 73 years. We will have a chance to reflect on his life at the Shiva. Suffice to say, Art truly led a wonderful, meaningful, loving life. We are just devastated that he was taken so soon. We ask that God bind up Art Kleinstein in the bonds of eternal life. We ask that he now rest in peace. Amen. So I'd like to call upon first Art's eldest child, Lauren Rose, to say a few words about her father.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's my speech. Okay, what do I do? Can everybody hear me? Give me thumbs up. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. You can hear me out there?
Yeah, if they can hear you. Yeah.
You sure? So beautiful. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren. I'm Art's oldest daughter. So Jared has asked me to share with everyone that our dad would prefer that this whole service, or I don't even know what you want to call it, but whatever it is, would be treated like more of a red carpet event. And so in that spirit, I'm just going to follow that lead. My name is Lauren, Art's daughter. I'm wearing a Philip Lindsay Broncos jersey. Did I do okay?
You did great.
Okay. Sorry, giggles all around. Okay. I have unfortunately been to many funerals for friends during their parents' passing. And over the past few years at those services, I've often caught myself thinking, gosh, I am so not ready to lose a parent yet. And thank goodness I still have all of mine. While I knew the day would come at some point, as that is life, I never in a million years thought I'd be standing here now in this situation talking about our dad. Now, never in a million years did I also think that when our dad died, he would have an escort onto a private jet while tons of his golf buddies, as the private jet did a flyover the golf course, flew in his honor. Oh yeah, and by the way, this is all in the midst of a world pandemic. So yes, this actually happened. That gives a whole new meaning to going out in style, and that was our dad. I have to say, sitting down to write our thoughts and feelings to describe our dad was quite a challenge, as there were just way too many things to even list. As we continue to read and receive messages about our dad, though, every possible adjective that was used to describe him has been used, and all of them have summed him up perfectly on each and every front. Our dad was certainly special and unique. We all know that. From his signature mustache that used to itch us with his Luba-style kisses, to being able to identify him from a mile away due to his patented art walk. No one was like him. Instead of going on about how amazing he was, which clearly would take days, we thought we would share with you some things about our dad and in our memories with him that maybe you didn't know about. Mitch and I, the big kids, don't remember too much about our dad and our mom together as a couple or us as a nuclear family of 4. But we do remember that we were super lucky to have 2 parents who, while they weren't married anymore, they were friends. In fact, Joanne and my mom are friends. How lucky is that? We also remember that we were so lucky to be afforded an amazingly enriched and exciting life as kids. While going through lots of old photos last night, as we often tend to do during these times, yes, all in paper, some even were black and white, we were reminded of the best experiences he offered us as we grew up. Every picture we looked at of our dad with us as kids, we were doing something fun. Whether that was swimming in our grandmother's indoor pool on Park Lane Circle, sliding down those wavy slides at the CNE, which we never missed a summer doing, ice skating at York Mills Arena, washing his silver little Corvette while Mitch and I sat inside it, all while he was wearing these tiny, tiny little white Adidas shorts. Of course, then there was the skiing. We went on multi-family ski trips to Vail, Aspen, Steamboat Springs, and our annual chilling on a beach somewhere with our Aunt Edie, late Uncle Michael, and our cousins Romy and Elise on our usual family Christmas trips. Our dad was also athletic. In fact, my kids joke that they got their athleticism from him. I personally think they got it from me. He made us get out there and be active at any early age. We were both put on skis by age 2. Mitch was signed up to play hockey, and as I got older, Dad got me into tennis too. He pushed us no matter what. We had to take lessons, we couldn't skip out, even if we didn't feel well. Looking back in hindsight, I suppose I owe it to Dad for pushing me then to work so hard, because now I can kick my husband's ass in tennis. So thank you, Dad, for that. Something else you may not know about our dad. While our dad was always fun dad, he did go through a phase of being quite the player. Oh yeah, we remember. His slick mustache and curly black hair seemed to be quite the magnet for many. As kids, our friends used to love coming to our dad's when we were with him on the weekends. Because instead of going to a movie or ordering pizza, like most kids did, we got to cruise Yorkville on a Saturday night in a Jag convertible. Seriously. Mitch and I and our cousins, Romy and Elise, to whom he really was a second dad to, used to have our inside jokes about our dad and his dating life in his single days. So much so, when we were fortunate enough to finally get to meet Joanne, our first comments to each other was, "Another one?" Well, fortunately, that girl turned out to be Joanne. Mitch and I took to her right away as she came with 2 really cool dogs and was wearing a really, really cool Roots leather vest. She was just cool. And she really was. And Dad was happy. And she was a perfect match for our dad. And we were lucky he found someone to share his adventures with and build a beautiful family. Then came Jared and Shane. Well, we all know Dad was creative and he was always planning and always thinking things through. Well, look at that. He planned to have kids again at the time when his big kids were perfect age to babysit, so he could still be out partying with Joe. For real, we are really, really lucky that we became part of a new second family. Dad ensured there were never any lines, boundaries, or divisions between any of us. We are not the norm here, and we know that, and that is because of our dad. I know that Jared and Melissa and Shane will continue to build their families as strong and as cohesive as Dad has role modeled for us. Mitch and I both went through some challenging times personally as well. Dad was our go-to for support for every step of the way. He was a shoulder to cry on, a brain to pick when we had questions, a sounding board for advice, and a listener when we just needed to yell and scream. He was a master trader of airline points and always had a solution. We knew that no matter what time of day or night, whether in the middle of a golf or a card game, he was there at any moment of need for help, advice, laughs, or support. Our dad also taught us the importance of family and family values. When Mitch and I both expanded our families, I married Perry and gained a wonderful daughter, Emily. And Mitch married Dahlia and had Leo and Kai, and now another baby on the way. Our dad was just thrilled. More Kleinsteins. Dad had a new buddy in Perry who most importantly loved and was taking care of me. But more so for Dad, he had a new golf buddy when they could get together. Since Mitch wasn't going to golf with him, as the lost golf ball cost was getting too high. More to add to the Kleinstein crazy mishpacha. As I said before, there were no lines, boundaries, or divisions in our family. No matter how large a group, we were always included to be all together, especially when visiting Colorado. Of course, we have room for everyone, he would say, even if that meant some of us slept on the floor. We were all family instantly because that's what Dad taught us was important. He taught us to see the big picture and always do the right thing, be the bigger person, and love and be inclusive of all, no matter what. To that, we are so grateful. When Dad would come into Toronto for one of his whirlwind visits, he had to make sure he saw everyone and fairly, and scheduled everyone into a T. This is an email he would send to all of us. Kids, here are my thoughts for hanging out with the kids while we're in town next weekend, December 7th to 10th. 1, arrive in Toronto with Mitch, Saturday PM, and go to your place around 4:15. Hang out with you all till about 6 p.m. and then go to dinner with Edie, Morty, Lauren, and Perry at High's new open steakhouse at 6:45. You are welcome to join us. Oh, I hope they still have their long ribs. 2, Sunday, bring over some breakfast and hang out at your place till 1 or whenever it is that they take naps. I think you said you have a Hanukkah party around 3 at a friend's. I think we have a dinner at Lauren's for whoever can make it. Edie, Morty, Elise? Lauren, I can hang with Alexa Sunday. Does she have basketball? Monday. Does Leo have school Monday AM? I think I can work with Edie and Rose in the morning and come and hang out with you guys from 3:30ish till bedtime and maybe take them for a bite to United or bring that all in for us, whatever you choose. Maybe a card game with the boys. 5, hang out with you guys in the AM, then go to the airport around 1. How does this all sound to you? Please feel free to change or advise me re any other plans and ideas you may have. Love, Art K. We loved those emails. It was signature dad style. Dad also had special bonds with work colleagues, his doctors, his golf pros, ticket sellers, his hairdresser, even the parking guy in Vail and the valet and cop at the Pepsi Center. Everyone knew Dad. They knew his car, they knew his walk, they knew his family. However, his bonds with his grandchildren were above anything they could have asked for. He could talk for hours to Evan about sports, stats, jersey orders, trades, and draft picks. Who else but Zadie could get Evan to have Wojtek Wolski from Colorado Avalanche show up at Evan's 6th birthday party in Denver and be able to attend a hockey, basketball, and football game all in one day? In Alexa, he found a perfect ski buddy, someone who loved the cruisers as much as him and didn't mind going down to the bottom of the hill a little bit early to enjoy some warm chocolate chip cookies while the others took a few more runs. When they weren't together, Dad's signature "Hi Lex Bex" on FaceTime would make each of them laugh, and then he'd ask her about basketball games and how many three-pointers she had gotten. Emily still laughs till this day, thinking about every time Zadie visited us in Toronto. Zadie would stir his coffee in our kitchen with his glasses and then lick it clean. His daily FaceTime calls with Leo and Kai were the highlight of his day, with signature Zadie funny faces being the main show. Even when Dad was in his other office on the toilet, whenever Dad was feeling down for whatever reason, he always said that pictures and calls with the boys brightened his day to the max. Our dad was able to do it all, no matter what age, where he was, or how he felt. He was always there and shined and sparkled when he saw any of them. Our dad also modeled and shared a most cherished relationship with his sister, our aunt, Auntie Edie, and our cousins, Romy and Elise. When we were little, we spent all of our holidays, travels, Sunday night Chinese food dinners with Auntie Edie, our late Uncle Michael, and Romy and Elise. We did everything together. Dad was Auntie Edie's other lifeline. Dad was so lucky to have his sister by his side for work, for family, and for friendship, and for anything else you could think of. Dad made sure we knew their closeness, and the reason for our closeness now with Aunt Edie, Morty, Romy, Elise, and the whole Wallach and Zaratsky clan are because of him. It is this that we hope we can continue to exemplify in our own families now that Dad can no longer lead the way. Dad, we could go on and on laughing, telling stories, jokes, and memories, and we could be frustrated, hurt, angry, and lost now that you aren't here. But I know you wouldn't like that. We know that. You lived life to its fullest in every manner of the word. You would celebrate, never commiserate. You would build us up and never tear us down. Even with your challenges with your health, you never let that get in the way of anything you wanted to do to enjoy life. You showed us how to live, love, laugh, see the brighter other side, spend, play, and just enjoy, and always do the best we could in every way. As we said at the beginning, or as I said at the beginning, I never thought I would have to stand here with our dad not here anymore. But I can only believe that this was his way. And he was really ready to see what was next on Art's excellent adventure, because life with Dad, for Dad, was always an adventure. He came in and ran his life like a tornado coming into town, and he left the same way. It's absolutely no coincidence that on the day of Dad's passing, Hurricane Arthur formed off the coast of Florida. He has always made his presence known, and this definitely wasn't stopping him. For those who our dad had met and those who only learned about him from this thread and online tribute, please know the world to all of us is a better place because of him, and his legacy will continue on and help ease the challenges of this crazy new world we're all trying to navigate. Dad, no words can express how much we will miss you. No words can share how much we love you, but we know you will be with us each and every day, joining together for our adventures too. It's mine and Perry's wedding anniversary today, and I'm so glad that you are with us even in your own special way to celebrate that. Love you so much, Dad. Done.
Okay, we'll call upon Jared to come forward to say a few words.
You pass me your glasses. It would only be appropriate if I read this eulogy with a pair of reading glasses that I looked under like this the entire time to read. This is terrible. I don't know how he did that for so many years. Also, I wrote most of this while I was sitting on the toilet where Art got his best work done. So I hope he'd be proud. My name is Jared, and I'm Art's third of 4 kids. I'm wearing Hayduk by Avalanche. Joni Mitchell said, "Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone?" With Art, oh, we knew. We appreciated him every single day. He made us laugh. He took care of us. He infuriated us. He consoled us. He advised us. He hugged us. He was our everything. By us, I mean his family, his immediate family, and also to the exact same level of attention and love, his extended family, nieces, nephews, cousins who could be so distant that even he would have to think a bit to explain how we were actually related. And to that same level, the friends that thought of him as a brother, or the many friends of mine that saw him as another father. In his eyes, Art Kleinstein died the richest man in the world. No, he didn't have all the money or all the things. If he did, he would have given it away. He was the richest man in his own eyes because he had everything. He had a wife and a family that he loved and loved him. He was the king of the Pepsi Center, the golf course, the ski mountain, and shul. He had it all. There's a classic story in our circles of our grandma, Mama Luba, Art's mom, in her dying days. People would come to her deathbed to spend time with her and show love. She would force them, instead of talking to her, to watch my bar mitzvah video. They would say, Luba, I want to tell you I love you and talk about your life. And she would say, watch this, my grandson did his Torah portion so beautifully. I never understood it. I never thought that it was more important than anything else she could have done with them in her last days. But then I saw how she gave that gene to Dad, and he took it to the next level. He was a big show off, not of his own things though, of everyone else. The only time he showed off something of his own was at weddings. If he was at your wedding, he most likely took his shirt off on the dance floor and swung it around his head at some point. No one could explain why, it just always happened. But that was it for his own personal boasting. Everything else was about those around him. We've all been in a scenario where he was supposed to be doing something serious, like go into a surgery or get ready for Yom Kippur services. And Dad is showing a video of his grandchildren walking for the first time, a picture of his wife winning an award in real estate, a stupid video I made for a sports team. If he had just cured cancer and someone wanted to see how he did it, he would probably try to show them highlights of his grandson Evan's basketball game. I have spent my whole entire life trying to be Art Kleinstein. Every passion I have, I got from him. Every activity I love, I got from him. We did everything together. When any of you said I was acting like him or I was just a mini Art, it was my favorite compliment. I moved back to Denver 3.5 years ago just to be close to him. My career has been real estate and sports, just hoping to make him proud. He showed me how to be a loving husband by making my mom feel like the luckiest woman in the world every day. I wanted to be everything he was, minus the hip problems. But then again, he loved his handicap parking privileges, so I would take those too if it meant I was more like him. His use of handicap parking was a perfect representation of who he was. And I promise for those of you who didn't know him well, he did need the pass, but roll with me for the story and the metaphor. He wanted to be as close to everything as possible. He wanted to not waste a second away from the action. He believed that you shouldn't waste time walking when you could pull up straight up to the things you love. I can't tell you how many golf courses he drove a cart past the no cart sign and right up to the fringe of the green, to the chagrin of every course pro and embarrassment of his children. He didn't want to walk the extra 20 feet. He wanted to be right in the action as fast as possible. The handicap sticker along with valet passes also got him closer to his favorite people, parking lot attendants. Not joking. Well, you guys know he had friends in real estate, finance, and other business pursuits. If you knew Art well, you knew that from Big Daddy at the Golden Peak Children's Center lot to the JJ and the guys at the Pepsi Center, some of the people that loved him most were the ones working in the parking lot. He treated them like he would treat his oldest pals in the world, with love, reverence, and pure joy. And they treated him like a king in return. I'll never forget seeing Von Miller of the Broncos waiting for his car outside Pepsi Center while Dad's was ready to go the second he got outside. Oh, and there was him in the Pepsi Center. His favorite seat wasn't a seat at all. He would sit on the stairs at the front of the box just to be close to Matt, who checked the tickets for the section, and Matt Graves, the cop. He would complain about and yell at his least favorite players on the team, and they would laugh. I would do anything right now to be yelled at by Dad. Why would anybody want that? Because Art yelled in a way that nobody in history ever has. He yelled lovingly. I just love you and want to spend time with you. I just want to go to the game so I can be with you. His eyes are shutting while he's driving to the mountains. I'm not sleeping. Or the classic, and I see some of my friends here can laugh at this, Jared, to get my attention as if I'm a mile away when I'm standing 2 feet outside of his office. My dad was my best friend. I can say that despite also saying that my wife, my mom, my sister, my dog, and 30 people on this funeral call are also my best friends. And they all felt, that's because that's how Art saw things. He had a million best friends, and they all felt like his number one. That was his superpower. He was generous with all his friends too. That was evident in the poker and gin games he played multiple times every week, where he explained that losing money was entertainment cost, and he did it gladly so that he could spend time with his friends. The only time I know I saw him win was when he had a detached retina when I was in high school. He played poker while he sat with his face down in a massage chair contraption So he took all my friend's money since we couldn't see any of his facial expressions to know if he was bluffing. One thing is for sure, Dad was preparing us for this day for a long time, not through cemetery plot decisions or real estate or estate planning, not through pneumonias that almost killed him or surgeries or illnesses that he felt compelled to go through. No, that was just him living on the edge. He prepared us for today through the way he showed us how to mourn and celebrate the people that we've lost. He never missed a yortzeit or annual prayer for the departed, for Mama Luba, Papa Joe, Bill, and Bubby. He would subtly guilt us into joining him at shul for everyone, saying, it would mean a lot to Mama Luba if you came this morning, okay? It's for her. He would always pay for the breakfast and always have a bottle of scotch, as everybody has said so far, ready for a shot in their memory at 7 a.m. on a weekday. Keep in mind, I was 13 when this all started. The point wasn't just to follow a rule set in the Talmud. The point was to celebrate their lives, and we sure as hell are going to celebrate his. That being said, this isn't how Dad was supposed to die. He had so much more left to do, which directly conflicts with the fact that he believed he had already lived the most full life and would always tell us that if he died, he would have no regrets. But he wasn't ready to go yet. He had more golfing to do, more skiing to ski, more bickering with mom, more grandchildren to kiss. He was not planning on this. He never wrote this down, so I can't be sure, but this is how I actually assume he wanted to go. It's the year 2066, and he's 120. He's skiing down Uzo, a run at Game Creek Bowl and Vale that he would say they just groomed when they had groomed it 5 days before. He's with the whole family, and I mean everyone. But no one knows where to go, so he's showing them the way. He had played golf that morning, so it was a classic Colorado day, the kind of thing you can only do here. That morning, they had also announced that after an Avs Stanley Cup, a year after the Leafs Cup, a Nuggets NBA championship, a Broncos Super Bowl, and Rockies World Series, Denver sports had peaked and were shutting down because they couldn't get any better. Also, they've announced the world may be ending tomorrow. So once everyone is together, he blows his whistle that he took everywhere on the mountain. At once, he's gone, but we're all gone too. And he's transported to the next life where he's watching Jewish movies, terrible cop shows, losing gin games, and kibitzing with Mama Luba and everybody he's ever loved. By leaving us early, Dad has given every single one of you extra time every day. You don't get to answer the phone call where he just wanted to check in while he drove to a meeting. You don't get to read the terrible forwarded emails and watch the videos that he sent of classic Jewish comedians in the 50s. You don't have to go stand with him at the Pepsi Center while he tried to figure out how to turn a Raptors game on in the back while the Avs game was in the front. You all have a few more minutes available in your day that were previously reserved by Art. So for the rest of your lives, do with them what he would have done. Call someone to tell them you love them, find any excuse to be in the world to be with your family, and smile and laugh because you got to be one of the lucky thousands of people that Art Kleinstein truly, truly loved.
Thank you, Jared. Now call upon Shane to say a few words.
I can see myself. Youngest child goes last, so take the repetition as emphasis here. Our dad is the best, and everyone says that about their dads. But to be clear, everyone also says that about our dad. So I think there's consensus. I'm Shane Kleinstein. I'm the youngest daughter of Art Kleinstein. Same name, different pronunciation. We never did sort that one out. And I'm wearing Peyton Manning by Broncos. Was that the right thing? Okay. So here's a letter that I wrote to Dad. But it's not a farewell letter because I don't think Art would ever not be present. He's the life of the party. He's Uncle Party, and I think he'd want to stick around. Papa Roach. First of all, this was really annoying, and we're all really pissed that you did this. But we know how much you love logistics and planning. And let me tell you, getting you here to Toronto was a logistical undertaking for the record books. But Dad, we did it. We got you here in the middle of a global pandemic, and now you can be with your parents. Your last plane ride was on Uncle Ronnie's jet. Not my blood uncle, but uncle by Art standards. The only way you'd want to take your farewell tour. And as people said, your Meridian golf buddies organized a flyover when we passed over the practice tee. We tipped our wings from the air, and below us there were tons of Art's fan club gathering at a social distance with a sign that said, "We love and miss you, Art," displayed on the green with shots of Glenlivet for all and your crew waving you off in the air. And they lowered the flags to half mast. I actually think, James, you were going to play a video of that. I'll give it a second to see if you can. If not, and it's too technically difficult. Oh, it's here.
It's unbelievable.
So I hope you can see that was Daddy's send-off. There was a half-page spread in the Vale Daily yesterday, thanks to Jared, your favorite newspaper. People say when someone dies, it's surprising to see who comes out of the woodworks with their condolences. But we personally are 0% surprised. It's a send-off befitting only of you, the larger-than-life man whose inner circle extended in the hundreds, and somehow you made each person in your orbit feel special. Whether the bigwigs of Denver and Toronto, the gin buddies, the minion buddies, Matt the cop, Aaron the hairdresser, the front desk guys at Monroe Point, the valet guys at the Pepsi Center, Big Daddy who worked the parking lot in Vale, your crew extended far, and yet it always felt so intimate. One of my favorite things on the planet is our weekly entire family Shabbat Shalom FaceTime calls, even though we all spoke pretty much every day of the week regardless. If I ever called and you answered the phone and said, "Hi, Shane," I immediately asked why you were mad at me until you corrected yourself with, "Hi, Shushetsky," or "Hi, Shush," and that was much better. I suppose, to be fair, you did leave me once before. When I was 3 years old, you took me on the chairlift at Alpine for the first time. The chair had 2 stops. You hopped off at the first one. You left your daughter on the chair. I don't remember what happened after that, but it seems I made it down. Mom definitely let you have it for that one, and I'd like to think it fueled independence. You took such an interest in every aspect of your kids' and your grandkids' lives. In high school, as Rabbi Don said, you never missed a sports game, even though I was a professional bench warmer. You were the most enthusiastic announcer at our ski races with your loud cowbell that you would ring into the microphone. You were at every basketball game or practice for your grandkids whenever you're in Toronto. You never miss a bath time with your newer grandkids. And with school and professional success, the 4 kids always wanted to make you proud. And I know you were proud. Like the time you called to tell me that the company I work for was buying Formula One because you read it on the news, you saw it leak, a headline I, of course, had to deny. When the news finally broke, you told all your friends that you knew about the deal even before your own daughter. I had to be careful sharing those things with you because your sense of pride was larger than your ability to keep a secret. The list is too long, so here's just a few things that we learned from you. To love with a full heart and unconditionally, the art of brilliant negotiation and finding common ground. No matter how much you make, set aside 10% for charity, like we did from the time we were 16. Show up for people in good times and in bad. Life's short and moderation is really overrated. Let your lifestyle dictate your income. Family comes first, always. Sports is a close second. Go big or go home. And finally, you taught how not to drive. Perhaps one silver lining, I suppose the streets of Denver are now slightly safer. Some of the things that I will miss the most about you, Dad. Your hugs, your advice, your dance moves, mostly topless, especially the way you dance with your cane. How Uber Art loved giving rides to and from the airport. Sneaking extra baked goods and thinking nobody noticed. Answering your phone 24 hours a day, including in the middle of my bat mitzvah party, when the siblings pranked you by calling your cell phone just to check, and you fell for it, left the party, and answered. The way you can't cough without sneezing, your penguin waddle, and especially your big, big heart, so giant, that's why you were barrel-chested. One more story that is so you, Dad. Last fall, I went to New York for under 6 hours en route to a wedding. You called to tell me that Uncle Ellie, also not actually my blood uncle, had just had eye surgery and was recovering on the Upper West Side. You asked if I would go to Brooklyn, from Brooklyn to the Upper West Side to visit with him while he recovered. It was my pleasure because I knew you would do that in a heartbeat. You taught us to lean in heavily to friends and family. You drove hours in a single day if any relative, blood or not, no matter how distant, was in Colorado just to say hello. The night before your surgery last week, Jared and I came to your apartment to film a family documentary Jared had been planning. Perhaps it was fortuitous timing. Mom called you a camera hog, and you so were. You loved the spotlight, but boy, we all loved giving it to you. We will cherish that footage forever. And one day we'll ask All of Art's fan club to help us finish that video full of art anecdotes that are special to you all. I don't believe you were ready to go because I found the photocopy of all the TV shows and movies that you were excited to watch in the hospital while you recovered. So if anyone wants, you can email me for suggestions. But we also know that quality of life mattered so much to you. I have to believe that you saw something after your surgery, something that said to you, life wouldn't look the way you wanted it to, and you had no interest in living that way. Or as my close friend said, God got selfish and he wanted some time with you. And I can't blame him. Just before surgery, Mom was saying to you, come on, Art. They say we've done sickness and health, we've done rich, we've done poor. Haven't we proven we're meant to be together? You two are the ultimate duo, the best parents, and so in love. Your marriage taught us to love your partner in their entirety, the full package, all the good, the bad, the differences that come with it. Yours is the kind of love that we all aspire to have. Dad, the world could really use more Art Kleinsteins. You were larger than life, and now you truly are larger than this life. But I feel you so deeply in me, and I promise to continue living your legacy. We got a message this morning from our cousin Miriam. Your father always told us that united as a family, we are strong. Dad, this is your legacy. Enmeshed as we may be and bicker as we do, you built this family into the tightest of crews. There's no half siblings. Our cousins, Romy and Elise, are our sisters. Our Auntie Edie is our second parent. And even your first wife, Karen, feels like family to us too. I have zero regrets. I have no feeling that I should have told you I love you more or spent more time with you. I think you know how we adored you. You know how I was obsessed with my dad. And as heartbroken as I am today, I feel luckier than I feel sad to have had Art as my dad because there was nothing left unsaid to you. So we'll see you around. And now, she's gonna go.
So now we'll call upon Joanne to say a few words.
You know what? The thing about Art is it didn't matter if I brushed my hair or my teeth. In fact, he'd say to me, give me a kiss. And if I said, I haven't even brushed my teeth, he said, that's when I love you the best. Come here. So here you got it. I'm Joanne Kleinstein, and I'm wearing Camp Kleinstein. Needless to say, my life right now is upside down. But I know the time will come when I will tell you all, I am so lucky for the gifts I got from being married to my husband of 33 years. Art, who, by the way, I never called Art. I called him countless names. He taught me so much. He taught me to see the big picture. He taught me to have faith that everything has a way of working out. His faith in Judaism was pervasive, and it defined our family and our values. He showed me positivity in the midst of bleak situations. Imagine this. We get a phone call and my friend says, you've got breast cancer. And I turn to Art and he says to me, we are so lucky We're going to Toronto for treatment. We'll be with family. We'll be friends. It's going to be great. And he believed that. He taught me and the kids, you'll all remember this, to stop a gazillion times. Look at the view. He marveled at the view at the top of a ski mountain and wherever life took us. He gave me the gift of our children, who in turn have blessed us with our wonderful grandchildren. He had an insatiable appetite for food, for fun. He needed a wet nurse, Mrs. Pincheski. She sent us a book when we got married, and I'm sure, I can't remember if she wrote it, said, good luck keeping him fed. But all that being said, he just did everything grandly, so that when we went to a restaurant, he ordered multiple appetizers, multiple desserts. When we ordered pictures when we were in Disney, it was multiple pictures of Space Mountain so that every 12 family members had the same picture. He knew that I loved a flower that started with a P. And for many years, I would get purple flowers, even though that's not what I wanted, or pink flowers, although that's not what I wanted. And finally, thankfully, and all of you have faith, always have faith, because finally, and I can't remember what year it was, he got me peonies. Here's some here today. And he still, to the very end, called them peonies, but it didn't matter. He got me peonies. So have faith. He loved deeply. He laughed loudly. And when we heard him laughing at the theater or wherever it was, it made all of us laugh. He gave of his time, his money, and his advice with unbounded generosity. As horrific as this pandemic has been, without the distraction of Pepsi Center games and me running off to work, we spent countless hours together. We'd lie on the couch, he would rub my feet, and we watched a variety of series of TV, and we stayed up till the crazy wee hours. We ate home-cooked meals, we played Scrabble. We're both pretty competitive. He made up so many ridiculous words. We were very content, and we were very together. He took up, just by his whole persona, a lot of space that filled our condo and our lives with his enormous energy and his presence. He had every phone conversation on speaker. We were both working from home, so I had the pleasure of listening to him bellow every day, Wado, or Michael B.J. Gray, or Shushetsky, and it went on and on and on. He had the volume of life turned up to the max. He had a vast network of best buddies. And what I loved even more was his huge respect and admiration for the women in his life. His mom, of course, his sister, best friend, and business partner, Edie, our daughters, and the women that he worked with and he spoke to every day. So you've heard all the memories that my kids have shared, but I just have to say, and I'm asking you to indulge me for a minute, you know, Art and I, we just had all these silly little, I don't know, exchanges that we did every day. I don't even know how many times a day. So they were ridiculous, but for whatever reason, they made me laugh. So as an example, I would yell, Stauber, as I came in, Que pasa? And he would say, Nada lada. And I don't know why, but I would laugh. I walked in the door, it could be 6 times a day, and I would, or he could be in the bathroom and I'd knock on the door and I'd go, anyone home? And he'd go, nobody I know. And it's ridiculous, but we laughed every time. After every meal, which my family knows, that I would prepare, I'd go, well, how was dinner? And he'd go, better than a restaurant. He wanted dessert, so he had to say that. Every night, he put on these headphones because he liked to watch Blue Blood. and I needed him to like lower the volume because otherwise the entire building of 69 residents could hear it. So he put on these headphones that would mute the volume for my sake and everybody else's. He'd have his headphones on. I put my headphone on because I did this little meditation, and we would turn to each other with our headphones. We'd start to laugh and say, "Ready for takeoff?" It's stupid. I know it's stupid, but we laughed. I was not ready for this takeoff, but my kids, thankfully, are reminding me to look for the signs that his energy and his spirit are close by. And I loved my Kleinstopper.
Good job.
Everyone, we will come back to talk more about Art. You heard from his loving family, and we'll look forward to hearing from all of you at the Shiva services. The services run by the Alliance will begin tomorrow afternoon at 5. And so tomorrow afternoon, 5, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, all at 5 o'clock. We'll all come together on Zoom. It'll be a little unwieldy because we know how many of you will come, but we'll try to organize things so that everyone will be able to say something about Art or giving condolences to the family. So we will conclude. El Shaddai, Almighty God of the living and the dead, send comfort to your children who grieve. Overcome by the pain of loss, they need your help to focus on the triumph and joy in Art Kleinstein's life. Help them to meet grief with courage, to face sorrow undaunted. Help them to treasure what is now theirs because Art lived in this world. Should despair threaten or faith falter, sustain us all, Adonai, for you are our refuge and strength, our ever-present help in troubled times. And let us say, Amen. The El Malei Rachamim Memorial Prayer.
El Malei Rachamim Shochen Bamromi Ha'etzeh Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanefei Hashechina B'malot Kedoshim U'Diyarim Kezar Rakia Mazehirim Et Nishmat Avraham Moshe Ben Yosef Luba Shealach Leolamo Began Eden Oy Began Eden Tehei Menuchato Ana Bal Horachamim Hastirei Uveseit Kinafecha Leolamim Utzeror Pitzeror Rachayim Et Nishmato Adonai Hu Nachalato Ve'anuach B'Shalom נשכבו ונאמר אמן.
Emelei Rachamim, exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure, to the soul of Art Kleinstein, who has gone to his eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May his soul now be bound up in the bond of life. May he rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. I'm glad you were all here to show respect and love for Art and his family. This part of the funeral service will conclude here. But as I mentioned before, Shiva will be together as a large community starting tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and those links will be widely accessible to everyone. Okay, thank you all.
So thank you, everyone. You're welcome.